Welcome to Friday at 5, everybody. I'm Karen Taylor, and today we're going to be talking about the topic of materials. We're not in classrooms these days mostly, and so my question for you is, what are you using for material? You know, what are you using as authentic material instead of, say, what used to be the newspaper or any kind of print object you can bring into the class? Now it's something else, right? So you might want to just use the chat. And as we ask ourselves, what materials are you using? Are you using textbooks that are now online? Or are you going to authentic sites and drawing from their materials? Are you drawing from YouTube? Are you drawings from somewhere else? So let's find that chat just as we get warmed up with the topic. And from Maryland, like I always do. Okay. And so hello from Maryland, and then what materials are you using? Okay. Take a moment there, meaning, and if you're not using any, let us know that. Are you going purely with conversation and going into the student's life, and are they drawing from their own oral texts? We'd like to know that too. And if you'd like to share out, we can take a couple minutes just opening up microphones and hearing from you. Great. So Debbie, you're drawing from Rachel's English. Close the doors, please. YouTube and focus on pronunciation. Also, if you're teaching a content class, remember we're talking about all kinds of language teaching. We'd like to know that too. But yes, Rachel's English is a great place to go for pronunciation pieces. Now is using photographs. Great. YouTube, Color Vowel. Mary Birch, what are you all using? I know you're teaching at a university. Okay, so ESL Library just as an online resource, right? What do you find in there, Mary Birch?
I'm finding a lot of reading content. My class is focused on social issues, and so I'm using some of the reading contents of their current events and using that for my content in class and then discussions as well.
Okay. Anna Delina, I think you wrote here you gave up textbooks. Is that right? Or you?
Oh yes, I gave up. I forgot my up.
I forgot your up.
I gave up. Yeah, I haven't used textbooks in years. And it's just so much easier to use authentic materials. You can give kids links. The library, if I find it like a newspaper essay or opinion piece or commentary, it's really well written. The library can always get it for me. Our university library, PDF. But I think it's just, it's just so much better for the students also to feel like they're out in the real world. Everything is new, it's contemporary to what's going on today. So we did a lot of essays about like the COVID-19 and about racial justice. We weren't reading, essays from, 15 years ago, which is what the textbooks have.
I just like, since I'm watching everybody or looking at everybody in gallery mode, and if you aren't, maybe take a moment to go in the upper right corner and notice your two different views, your speaker view and your gallery view. Go to gallery view, and then let's just do a raise of hands. Who else feels like Anna, that you've given up on textbooks for a while and you're really turning to pretty much authentic materials out there? Who's out there doing that? We see some hands. Okay. Yeah. And then, this took us all by surprise. I'm not sure even textbook publishers were ready for something like this, but how many of you are using maybe a really well-prepared online resource or portal that relates to a textbook that you were using already? Is anyone doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Look at this. Almost nobody. Liz, what are you using?
It's not exactly relating to a textbook, but I'm using Off to Class some. It's sort of an online curriculum.
Okay, so it's built as an online curriculum, right?
Yes.
Okay, but it's interesting. So Teresa, are you using a textbook that has an online portal support for? Oh, you're muted.
I wasn't, okay, sorry. I'm using the Nat Geo Standout series as a textbook with their online resources, as I finished up the semester, mostly online, but I was face-to-face. So I just like to complement. I like to use the textbook as a framework, and then I complement with authentic materials.
Yeah, I think a lot of us feel that way. Well, while we're still in this sort of questioning mode, I'm finding this fascinating. I hope some of you are too. Let's just ask ourselves this one. How many of you have really changed your course objectives or just what you were ever planning to do? How many of you have undergone an entire shift of your plan in terms of the content? Okay, some, and others not so much. Maybe you got to stick with what you were planning. I got to stick with what I was planning because I teach entirely online, right? So that didn't affect me, but for a classroom teacher, that's a big shift. Okay, so back to the question of materials, that a lot of us are working with online materials, let's call them authentic. Some of them might be somewhat prepared through an ESL-focused website, but a lot of them sound like they're authentic. If you want to, I'd love to hear in the chat just any websites that you're using that you recommend, because I think others will be interested in that. So please use the chat for that too. We see Netflix, I see YouTube. I'm going to mention Youglish. Okay, I always mention Youglish, but it's a great place to mine through YouTube videos and get transcripts and hear the pronunciation of speakers of English. Great. Well, then today we thought we would look at how we can enhance this new definition of what a material is, right? Before it meant something like a handout. And I think for years, Shirley and I have marked up handouts and shown what you can do in a textbook. And we'll do a little bit of that today, but we'll sort of be looking for your thoughts on how this manifests in the online world. So Shirley and I are going to share a little bit. Laura's here today. Laura McIndoo is in the house. She's going to share ways that you can color vowelize materials that are online or create your own materials. And so she has some little treats there for you. Okay, wonderful. I see lots of good stuff in the chat. So welcome to everybody. If anybody's new, I know it's sort of a conundrum when I say if you're new, raise your hand, because nobody wants to do that. But if you are new, hi Debbie, good to see you. You're not so new, I know your name, I recognize you, but you're new to the community. And so I think this is a good place to start, that we've been getting together on Fridays as a community of teachers who know Color Vowel and use it. And this forum is free and open to everybody. So we're always going to aim to not assume that somebody knows something. We're going to, remain kind of beginner's mind about everything. But what we're trying to do with any kind of color vowel markup is provide learners with a way to take text into the spoken world, or vice versa, create bridges and connections between spoken English and written English. As Anna Delina puts it so many times, which your name for me, by the way, is one word, Anna Delina. The way Anna Delina puts it, we so often don't notice that the texts we work with don't have any kind of a sound file with them. And I think you use that as a metaphor. It's not a sound file like on a computer. You mean we can look at something and we have no idea what it sounds like.
Exactly.
And yeah, and the learner doesn't know either, right? Can you tell us more about how you think about that?
Well, it was this semester in particular, I was just shocked to discover because we were on Zoom and we were sharing drafts. I teach writing. And so sometimes, we couldn't see what the other person had. So I asked them to read what they had written, and they couldn't even read the words that they had written down. Like they had written in, like an essay or critique, and they weren't able to read it aloud. They'd had no idea what the words sounded like at all. So that it was completely, it didn't help us at all because we couldn't understand what they had written unless we actually saw it. But that, that was so sad.
And shocking, yeah.
Yes, it's shocking. So that I realized that they're doing everything visually. Every word in English to them, well, not every, but most words that they were using are sight words. And it must be exhausting because you don't have any help. You're just using one sense, and everything has to be memorized. It's like a picture. You have to have this catalog of pictures in order to be able to write a sentence. So then I realized, and then for reading also, it's the same thing. They can't, they don't know, like if they're reading a text, everything is just, they recognize the word being repeated and they match it up with the definition, but they don't have anything to match a sound file of any sort. It's exhausting. It has to be exhausting.
Yeah, it makes me, the metaphor I think of is something like building a boat, and you get all the planks of wood and you build the boat, and then you don't have any paddle or a sail or anything up above to make it move. No motor. You just worked really hard and now you can sit in this boat. I don't know. Any thoughts on that, anybody? Other thoughts? Well, this idea of having a sound file, we're not talking about a digital sound file. We're talking about a way to connect what the learner sees or what they write with the way it sounds in their head and then the way it sounds when they're confident enough to say it. So that's the sound file we're talking about. And it comes in through the kinds of markups that we do with the color vowel chart. Once again, with the idea that each phrase on the chart represents a vowel sound that is in a word at its stressed location. So today is the month of June, one syllable word, and June is Ju-oo-oo-oo-oo, and that would be a blue moon word. Blue moon, June, right? And next month will be July. And how do we do July? Is it July? July, right? So there's a profile to this word in the way that it sounds, July. And we use our hands to locate it, July. And then we'll realize that the lie part of it, July, we can cast around and try on different colors to find the one that matches. So it's not Julie or July or Jala, olive sock Jala, green tea Julie. No, white tie July would be a white word. And so in this casting around or trying on different colors kind of way, they're able to make real matches between the spelling of the word, where the stress is that we underline, and then what color that is. Or vice versa. They know that it's a white word, they look for the underline, and now they know how to say July instead of July or something along those lines. So we'll play a little bit with markup as the concept for a couple minutes. Keep the chat going over in the chat area. I'm going to ask, Jennifer's always sort of watching and she'll watch for good questions to throw in at the time. But we're a small enough group, you can always just unmute and ask a question. So I'm going to start with a quick example, or not a quick, but a nice example, a small one that Shirley and I have been involved with. And Shirley, can you raise your hand so everyone can see you? This is Shirley Thompson, co-author of the Color Vowel chart with me. And so Shirley and I, years ago, met a group called Intercambio. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. Shirley, you want to tell a little bit of the story where we met Lee and where it went as a project?
Yeah, let me just start by saying I'm having all kinds of crazy technical difficulties. So if you can't hear me or something, just cut me off and take over, Karen, okay?
Okay.
I mean, you're kind of going in and out. It's weird. And my techie grandson has been trying to help me. But anyway, yeah, Intercambio, I think it was at...
Uh-oh, you just muted yourself. Uh-oh. Come back. There you go.
Okay. I don't know how I did that. I swear I didn't touch anything. Anyway.
Magic finger. That was Georgia Teasel, I think, right? In 2012?
No, that was when you met him, but I had met him earlier at a conference in DC. And we had tables next to each other and we got to talking and he seemed interested, and then we ran into him again at Georgia TESOL, and we were very interested in what he was doing, which was a very grassroots organization to help adult ed learners learn English. All volunteer teachers, and they were trying to produce a very low-cost textbook that the students could afford to buy. So anyway, we got to talking, and we tried to help him understand how Color Vowel could really enhance what they were doing. The idea that students were learning a lot of vocabulary but they had no way to know when they got home how to pronounce any of those words, even if the teacher spent time with them in class going over the vocabulary. They didn't have an easy way to keep track of it. So anyway, eventually, I don't know how many years later it was, we ended up working with them to take all of the vocabulary from each lesson that they had selected as being the key vocabulary items and to colorize them. So for example, on this page here where you see I need to mail a package, they have a list of the vocabulary words. So let's say that the teacher goes through and teaches the vocabulary: international, international, black cat, international.
There we go.
Whoops.
There we go. Sorry, I was trying to find my right page there. International. Right. There we go.
Right. And the other vocabulary: fill out, fill out. What color would fill out be? Anybody?
Is it fill out or fill out?
Brown cow.
Brown cow.
Brown cow, fill out. Yes. Okay, so let's say you go through the vocabulary. Now, how do the students keep track of it? What they have now at the back of the book, Karen, can you flip to that?
Yeah.
If
You
you
can
look
see a
at
full
lesson,
view, by the way, of the whole book. So here we go.
oh, yeah, good.
So
Yeah,
they,
and show them the back page, the back inside cover.
sure. So the back inside cover now, it's a portrait version of the chart. So if those of you that are really familiar with the chart behind me, you're like, whoa. But they really, really wanted an up and down version for their purposes. So we agreed that they could do that. So I kind of see it as, like when your own photo gets stretched, like skinny chart. So there's the skinny chart. And then if we go back, see if I can make this bigger for you. You can see that they have a version of the Color Vowel organizer that everybody here, a lot of people here know all so well, okay? So students can write here, but then here is just something kind of interesting. And I'll see if I can zoom in on it for you. Not so much. Let's see. Nope. All right. So I'm going to stick with it about this. Maybe I can make it a full size, but I think it'll break the sharing. Zoom in. There we go. All right. So here's that section on need to mail a package, if everyone can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Shirley.
So now the students, when they get home, if they're reviewing the vocabulary and they're not sure how to pronounce something, they can actually look at the glossary, or they can use the glossary to review all of their vocabulary words. And they're coded now. So address, red pepper, address, red pepper, domestic. They've underlined the stressed vowel, and they've actually highlighted it. I mean, they bolded it as well as underlined it, and then written what the sound is. So it's
a new way.
Envelope.
Yeah.
I don't know what silver pin. Anyway, Karen and I were involved in some of the initial, we were actually involved in coding some of the initial books, but some of these later ones, I think other people did. Yeah. I'm not sure where silver pin envelope, maybe
sure,
somebody can.
It does. It works for a lot of Southern dialects that have
okay.
vowel raising in front of that N.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see what they've done is added so this adds an element of pronunciation that the students didn't have before. Quite simple. And you could easily do that with your own vocabulary list, is just have them keep track of the words, the key words that they need, and then color code them.
Right. So I was thinking right here, we can just sort of draw from our pool of people. What I'm going to show you here is a large and somewhat fuzzy version, but let's just say we're working with a textbook. And again, we're going to be sort of transitioning into the idea of beyond paper materials shortly. But if and when you do go back to face-to-face teaching and you are working with books, this is definitely a resource worth knowing about, and we thought it lends itself. So here's what it looks like up close, and again, forgive that it's so fuzzy, but it's a screen capture that I wanted to play with. What we can do with this, forgive the extreme sharing and stopping sharing, we're going to mark it up together, okay? So if you're working with this, what do you do? What are you going to do? That's a chant, by the way. What are you going to do
Yeah,
today?
what are you gonna do today?
I've been teaching a course on this workshop, level 2 workshop on giving chants. So I have, what are you going to do today? What are you going to do? What are we going to do with markups right now? Should I take out my shape tool and make a line somewhere?
Yes.
Right, let's go ahead and do that. Sure, sure. So we'll make an underline somewhere in the book, right? International. And is that sufficient? Or should I write something near it?
Black cat.
Yeah, so something like a black. And I often just keep it short. Black is sufficient once the students know what that's referring to.
We have the anchor images. You could put those in there. That would be good.
Yeah, you could do that.
Right.
You know, so I have kind of a new, we'll get to the images, but I have this dream that people have been sharing with me and now I've bought into, which is to create some Avery labels, the tiniest circles possible with color vowels on them, right? And then you can just stick the stamp in there and kind of mark something up. But right now we can either write it or you can use an image that we provide our level 1 completers. So black there. And more on images shortly. And so we'd end up looking something like this, right? Yeah.
Karen,
Yeah.
can I just mention too that I think it's important to try as a teacher to be consistent. Like I tend to write it underneath the stressed syllable. Karen, you're writing it above. But I think for the students' sake, to get them into the habit of either doing it under or above, so that otherwise it could be confusing whether it's for the word, for which word it's referring to.
Right. Yeah. I tend to go above because the line is below. And then it kind of nice sandwich for the word, but everyone will have their own way.
Yeah.
What we don't recommend changing is the idea of using all caps, just as a little touch point there. You know, using all caps makes sure that we know we're talking about the word, the sound, and not the word black, right? We're not conveying just the color word black, but rather that it's the black cat sound. Okay, so that's a bit of how you might do a markup. Notice it's nice in their book that they actually leave a lot of space for that kind of markup down below. And they have a little unit on stressed syllables. So that's pretty handy. Okay.
Would you ever try using color, specific colored text, or is that not necessary?
Thanks for asking. You know, for years I've had imaginative people send me colored up texts that took them, I think, hours to do. And then they run into trouble with things like wooden and white.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah. And then, you know, then I've had, well, no, you can find this kind of pen. And like, yeah, I don't want you using your energy to go find that color pen.
Yeah, I was thinking that it might not be too important, but
yeah. Well, in fact, it's not important. We have lots of examples from classrooms where you're going to grab whatever pen you have available, right? So if you end up with a board that's in blue and green because those are the 2 whiteboard markers you have, you can still mark up all the purple words. It's not a problem. In fact, I you know, will say to students, it's not the color you see anyway, it's the color you hear. Right? Yeah.
I
also,
like that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Other thoughts, questions on that?
I will just encourage your students to use their regular pen. I had one student who I said, oh, just use your pen. And she was like, oh, no. And she whipped out this like 54 set of colored pencils and everything. And everything would take her like 4 times as long. And she got so focused on getting everything right with the color. And it just, she completely missed the whole point. And she was so into that. And it's time consuming. And then it's frustrating, you know, difference between silver and gray. And what if you lose your rose pen? You can't say rose words. You know, so just, you know, encourage them just to stick with what they have. So I would say.
Yeah. So as we round out our little section on textbooks and what you can do in a textbook, just know we'd be happy if anyone's interested in knowing more about Intercambio. They're now a partner of ours, and you'll find them on our website. But if you're interested in us, you know, bringing Intercambio in for a little session on their textbook series, they're highly affordable. And I ran an ESL program using their books precisely because of the price point. I don't know if you can see this, but very affordable pricing, $12 to $18 depending on how many you order. So if you're in an ESL program and you order a couple hundred, you know, copies, you get a nice price break at each, next level of volume pricing. And then, as I like to say to them, they hate it every time I say this, but I like their books because they fall apart easily. And my whole thing with that is just that they don't make them shiny and they don't feel too good for our students. When a lot of our students wouldn't touch the shiny, page books. They feel like they're too fancy. But the Intercambio books are actually on writable paper, the right kind for pencil, and you use the book, your students will actually write in them. So they're doing a lot of good work these days. Now, any other questions or comments just about marking up on physical books, or what you might end up doing in a text by creating your own glossary or maybe your own color vowel organizer?
Well, I would like to say, even if, assuming that you are teaching online, or even if you're not, though, I was just thinking, like, that index that you showed us has words, vocabulary from each unit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had like a Word doc or any kind of a document, and you had the same thing, and then you could also put them all together so that it was an alphabetical index of all the lessons as you went. And it would be so easy for students if they knew how to use it and technology and how to do it, it would be even more powerful than on a book like that. But to your point, Karen, like, simple is good. This is a book. We know what it is. We know how to use it. We turn the pages and whatever.
Yeah.
Still, I was thinking that would be really cool to just have like a running glossary is searchable of all the vocabulary that you've used with that class, with any particular class,
Well, I wonder if that is what, and I'll just share this. It's been a few weeks. Gosh, I think we've been doing this for 2.5 months now. But we did share this resource. And is this would this suffice to what you're thinking of here, Liz? This is that Color Vowel Organizer Sandbox. It's a spreadsheet that Jennifer put together a while back. You see the tabs on the bottom, right? And so you could alphabetize, or you could sort in any way you want. I suppose your green words, your silver words, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For them. So in this case, they're sorted by color.
Mm-hmm.
Another way is you could sort them by lesson, but yeah, I mean, if it's on a Word doc, you can search for it if you want to.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. You
But
can also have a section here for the source of the word, so it doesn't just have to be that one textbook, right?
Can you share that document? That's pretty cool.
Sure. Yeah.
It's up on our in our resources, isn't it, Karen? Our public resources, or it was.
Yeah. We're going to find easier ways to share, some documents. In fact, I'll just kind of close this out by actually sharing this part, and then Laura's going to come on with some online ideas. But on our website, everybody, we have, our website, right? And when you go to our website, you'll find resources. And these resources are for everybody. They're free. And you may not have seen these because I've kind of updated this page and made tips videos for each of the items. So you can now get the organizer, and there's a little video on what it's all about and how to use it. You'll notice, just by the way, the link for that takes you to the shop, and it's free, but you do download it directly from the shop, and you'll find that same video in the shop. So this is kind of a different way of getting to understand what's there in the shop for you, but it's a free resource. This is a second free resource, which is our Black Line Master. Wonderful for all kinds of things. And I outlined 4 different ways to use that. But what we should have here, Jennifer, and we will, is probably a link to go there, or we'll have to figure that out, ways to make our public documents available so that this object can be found more easily. Okay.
And we might be able to write a script of some sort that would allow you to, take everything that's in a Google Doc and a Google Sheet, and it would automatically populate a Google Doc. But I know you could do that between Excel and Word, but I don't know about in the Google world. So we'll have to look into that.
All right. Wonderful. Good.
And
Okay.
I also, Karen, I'd like to make the plug also for not forgetting about the Color Vowel the Blue Canoe Dictionary.
Oh, thank you. Thank
And
you.
I mean, because what the Blue Canoe Dictionary does is it underlines the stressed vowel for you and tells you what color it is. But then what I love about it is that it keeps track, like it's made a list here of every word that I've looked up. So a student can go back and click on a word that they, like for example, the other day I was reading an article in the Post and this word came up and I had no idea how to pronounce it or what it meant. And so I went to the Color Vowel Dictionary and it turns out the word was black cat hagiographic. So who knew? But anyway, it keeps a running list of the words, so every student would know what words they've looked up. So I see somebody is asking about what the dictionary is. Karen, do you want to take it? Because I feel like am I breaking up?
No, you're
Yeah.
doing pretty well. But I'm actually going to I'll pull that up while Laura's starting in on digital resources. And so just know that we'll plan on finishing up with a little bit of Blue Canoe and what's offered there. Okay. Wonderful, everybody. Good. Well, Laura, I'd like to invite you in now because I know you've been doing a lot with online resources and ways to color vowelize within those tools.
Right. Thanks, Karen. So Karen asked me just to share about this, partially because this game Color It Out, which of course ended up turning into Blue Canoe, came about because I had just learned about Color Vowel and I really wanted to apply the concepts to things I was already doing, right? And one thing that I did a lot was games. And so I was trying to find a game that students would like to play, like play often so that they would actually get a lot of practice in, but also take the color vowel concepts and sort of find a happy marriage of that. Some sort of game that I could adapt, right? And so I came up with Uno because apparently people all around the world know how to play Uno. And Uno is, so you take a game like Uno, this is my thought process. When you play Uno, you have to match one of the colors or one of the numbers. So if it's a red card, you have to match a red. And if it's a 4, you can play another 4, right? There are those two aspects. And so I just tried to think about how could we use that with color vowels? And then I realized you could have 2 colors on one card, just like this. You could have 2 colors on one card and the cards in your hand, and you had 2 choices to match. So there was a choice there. And then, of course, the game, if most of you know the game, but you say like blue moon beautiful, blue moon school. So it basically evolved into this color vowel practice, but using the metrics of Uno. And without getting into that too much, what I mean is I took something that everybody knew and color vowelized it, right? And the result was phenomenal. It worked beautifully. And so taking that same theory of taking a structure, an activity, a format, something that you already do, something that your students are used to, or a common format that everybody knows, and just color vowelize it, right? And I would encourage you just to let yourself sit and think about something that you already do and figure out how you can fit color vowels into it. And there's a couple different ways you can either focus on one color, like how could I adapt this activity for one color? Or how could I do an activity that involves maybe 2 colors, like 2 contrasting colors? Or how can you practice all of the colors? So I've come up with lots of different activities over the years, but with this whole pivot to online, I wanted to share some things that I have developed for my classes to do the same sort of thing. And actually the first thing I want to show you is my color vowel organizer that I had to use for my class very quickly. Instead of using the color vowel organizer on paper, or what my students use, I just made this. And I think we have this shareable. Karen, do you know if we still, I think I shared this with Liz, right?
Yeah, I think we're going to organize some of our shareables.
Yeah, this is somewhere, this is a blank, but this was my high intermediate group, and these are editable fields. This is made in Google Sites, but it's the old Google Sites Classic. They have upgraded it, but in the new one, you can't underline in the fields, and we know how important that is. So the new one looks much slicker. It's really cool looking. This looks a little more old school, but you can type in a word like, oh, I don't have it on edit mode. You just go up here to edit. And then you can use your words that you're learning in class, like, oops, teacher, and you can underline very easily and then save. And you can share this with your students. They can copy it into their physical notebooks at home. And you have your regular running Color Vowel organizer online with the cute graphics as well, right? The cute images. So we will make this shareable. It's a really nice way to make sure your students are collecting the words that you need in class. And you can't really, well, you could share, you could check their organizers as well online, but this could be the master for your class. All right, so one thing I want to share with you is the Color Vowel crossword puzzle. This I thought of a couple weeks ago, and I could not believe that I hadn't thought of it before. We've never done this before. And right here is the Color Vowel crossword Black Cat. So it's a regular crossword puzzle that I made, and all of the answers are black. So if you come down here, number 2 across, and I think you can, yeah, you can click on the clue and it will show you where it is. And it says a black cat month of the year. Any guesses? There's only one. Which month of the year is black cat? And say
January.
Black. Right, January. So you go up here and you can type it. January, exactly. So all of these, all of the answers are black cat. And down here, number 8, black cat, day of the week. I actually originally just said day of the week. Which day of the week is black cat? There's only one.
Saturday.
Saturday.
We're all sitting there going, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Exactly. But even if you just say day of the week and there's only one of them, it's that process that you guys just went through. You're testing every day of the week against what color, right? Black cat Monday, black cat Tuesday, black cat Saturday. Exactly. So when you're doing this, or when your students are doing this, they're going through that mental gymnastics, right? Of finding a word, if they have a clue they think would fit, but it's not black cat, it's not going to work, right? And then they get the hints, like with the cross letters and things like that. So this website up here, crosswordlabs.com, is what I've been using. You can share this very easily, and I will share the links with you as well. The last few minutes I'll put them in the chat. But I would suggest go to this website and you can make your own Color Vowel crossword. It's really, really cool. They also have the answers, which I believe only the person who made it can see. So your students won't cheat.
So for Laura, for those who are wondering, how long did it take you to do this?
10 minutes.
Okay.
But I looked at one of my organizers. I just took the black cat words that I just had right there, and like a word like Saturday, day of the week, you know? So I kind of worked from a list and then just described them, and then it made this beautiful crossword for you. Play around with it. You can also adjust the structure and what it looks like, but it's super fun.
And for those who are wondering, where do you find all those words? Don't forget that in the Color Vowel Approach book, you've got a whole spread of words by color. So it's just a beginning, but it kind of gives you a way in to say, I'm going to make an entire mustard crossword. It's all right here for you. And then you can pick and choose and add and so forth.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt there.
And
no, it's great.
It's also available on our Color Vowel chart Facebook page, if you want to try that one. It's very challenging. That's my clue.
To make the crossword or to do the crossword?
To do Laura's crossword.
I find it super satisfying to watch. I think the usability, which I know, Laura, you didn't design, but it just so happens that the whole typing into it is very satisfying to me. So let's see how others feel.
I was wondering if you could use a list of your vocabulary words for a particular unit, and then with each clue you would just add the,
exactly.
The color. Yeah, have you tried that? Okay.
You can just say day of the week dash black cat, but make sure you put that black cat in all caps. But that would work too, you know? The reason I was doing an all black one is if you're not on our Facebook group, what color do you hear? We have that social hashtag campaign with pictures, a picture of a pattern, and it will say Color Vowel Black Cat pattern, for example. There's a whole bunch of images, and it's actually Black Cat Week. So I made a black cat crossword to go with that. Next week, I think, is Olive Sock Week. So I'm going to make one for each, you know, we're going through here. I'll make one crossword for each color, and it will be posted in Facebook. I think I'm going to start labeling them easy, medium, and challenging, or something like that. So you can find ones that are appropriate for your students. And also, after I make 15, I'd like to just start over with green tea, and I'll do a different level or something. Okay? But definitely check out that website because it's super easy to use, and I think the product is really.
And how did you share it with students?
Yeah, so right here, can you see my screen? You hit share, and then you've got the URL. So I'm going to copy this. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing.
Yeah, we can.
But it's just, yeah, and even right up there. And hold on, I'm still in share mode. I can send it to you right now. So it's in the chat. And it's nice because it says Color Vowel Crossword Black Cat. It's not just a bunch of characters.
Okay.
So you can remember it as well.
Did they turn it in as a homework assignment, or did you review it at one point? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not teaching right now, so I don't have students, but what I would do is share. And then once they finish it like this, you can hit print, and you can save it as a PDF very easily. Word PDF, and you hit print. And, oh, that's like this. So I think if you print it, it's the blank. You could have your students take a picture of it and send it to you, maybe, you know?
Why not have them print out the blank one and do it? Or do they not have printers? If they don't have printers, they can't, but if they did, that's how I would do it.
Well, look, if you do something wrong, look, it turns red when you go to the next clue. So they're going to look at it and go Saturday, and then they'll have to use their Blue Canoe dictionary or a dictionary and realize that it's spelled, and when it's correct, it's green, which is great.
That's great. I could see you could just review it too, in like in a Zoom class. Each student just goes down their list and
I actually paid for an account, so the only benefit of that is you can have all of your crosswords together. I didn't log in here, but up here it just says like my crosswords, and you can find all the ones that you made. The only thing is I can't tell how many times it's been done or anything like that. There are no metrics. So I can't see if it went viral or anything like that. You know what I mean?
The whole world is during the Black Cat crossword.
I don't know if it's just Jennifer and Karen or if there's been 200 people. So, but it's just satisfying. Some people love doing crosswords. So it's a great way to, you know, to practice their pronunciation. Okay, some other websites that I found. I don't know, some teachers play bingo. Do any of you play bingo? For some classes, some students, people love it.
Oh my gosh, this is so pretty.
I know. Well, there's this this is the flag, stars and stripes theme. You can do modern. Ta-da. Okay, so I was thinking about how best to do this, and you can make 4 by 4. You can also, if you add 16, I don't know, you can do more squares like this and it will make it bigger. Give it a second. See? Ta-da! Look at that. Now it's 5 by 5. And this is a website. I'm going to send it to you right now. Hold on a second. Karen, can I hit the chat if I'm in full share?
Can you?
Never mind.
Alt-H.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to go back.
While you're doing that, Laura, it would be cool to do that with maybe syllable stress patterns. So, you know, the small dots and the big dots, and they'd have to find the syllable word that's stressed on the first syllable or the second.
Like our new favorite t-shirt, da-da-da.
Da-da-da.
So you guys can check out this website. There's a lot of ways to play it. Look over here. I'm looking on the left menu, virtual bingo. There's actually a video in here that shows you how you can call and play with a whole bunch of people, and it will show you the words that you've called. So if I call out learn, they go learn, and then they would click their purple shirt game card, right? So if you want to go down that rabbit hole, click on that link there and play around with it. I don't want to play bingo with all of you because I have a lot of other things to show you. But just, you know, this is something like bingo that is played in many, many classrooms. And you can totally color vowelize it and customize it for any way you want. Okay, this next website is called EduCandy. Name doesn't quite work for me, but I spent like way too much time on this website the other day, because what you can do, and again, some of these work much better than others. So if you can see, this is Classroom Vocabulary Review. So let's pretend you just did a unit teaching words like clock and eraser, things like that. So if you want to do a review, I have made, did I do this first? You can make a vocabulary list and pair it with colors, and it gives you 5 different ways to practice it. So for example, memory, we actually have Color Vowel memory games in the shop, physical ones you can print out. So this would be the online version, and this is Classroom Vocabulary. So you click on the first one, everyone say it, clock, cup of mustard. Does that match?
Nope.
Oh.
No, see the guy here? No. Classroom, green tea. Those match? No.
Wow,
Teacher.
even he knows of the color vowel system.
Yay! So when you get a pair, it's not color coded really, but let me show you, I'll keep going. These will stay blue and the other matches are a different color. So you keep going. Silver pin, eraser, rose boat, pencil. Do I have a pair yet?
No.
Notebook.
Oh, rose boat. Oh,
Where was rose boat?
oh, so close.
I'm so bad at this game, just so you know.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Up one.
Yay. Okay,
It was-
here we go. So silver pin, listen. Now, obviously, it's going to tell you if it's right or wrong. And actually, that's a benefit to playing this online. When I play with my students, they'll pick it up and say, listen, green tea. Yeah, that's a pair. And they put it off to the side, right? And they get to the end and they're like, yeah, and they're like, wait, these don't match. And they don't know where they made a mistake. And it can be a little bit frustrating. But I really like this little purple guy because he won't let you pair them if they're not a pair. So you can keep playing, obviously. Oh, wait. Blue moon. Shoot.
Pressure's on, Laura.
I know, I know.
Oh,
No.
no.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, good.
Okay, so just another example. When you finish the whole thing, the pairs will be in different colors. It does like get a little bit opaque, but your student could sit there and actually review them and say, black cat classroom, green tea teacher, right?
You know, and we could think that the different visual color is going to bug us, but honestly, I don't think it bugs me as long as I just kind of grow up about it and say that's the color I see. But what I hear in black cat is the sound I hear in classroom.
Right.
How do other people feel? Can we get over the visual difference there?
Shoot.
Maybe.
Definitely.
I think you should show us the other options, Laura.
I think
just wanna
that
complain.
Laura, silver next to silver pin, next to silver pin, and then bottom right corner.
Dang, you're good.
Yay.
Okay.
Oh, I noticed a
Yeah.
microphone or a speaker in the yellow box above the purple guy.
Ooh, hold on a second.
Ooh.
Wait.
I like the way he nods his head. No.
Nothing's happening. My sound is all the way up. I wonder what that's for. This is one of those intuitive websites that gives you no indication what any of the buttons are for or how to start, but I don't know what that is.
what's the one next to it? The four.
Full screen.
Oh.
Okay.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I could see students really enjoying this as a way to practice,
Yeah, it's
especially
awesome.
because it's wrong, you know? So in that same suite, basically, and all I did was make up this set of words that said green tea and teacher, that they were a match. And so you can go, whoops, you can go back here. That was the memory version. This matchup is a little lame, but it might work for some students. It's
Is
the
this-
same material.
Is this
And
website
it's-
free also, Laura?
Yes, totally free. So student, they can see all of them and all of the colors. So, sorry, I didn't mean to say lame. It's a bit more basic. I'm used to teaching more advanced.
We like honesty.
I think the benefit is that you can see all of the words here and all of the color vowels, and it's just matching. So, you know, blue moon student. Let me see if it happens if I get it wrong. Ah, it won't let you. That's nice.
Okay.
So if someone doesn't like the competitive aspect, or they just want to do a quick matching activity, you can do it this way too.
Well, this is memory without the memory. I love it. You
Yeah,
know,
it's just
I don't know short-term memory. It's perfect.
well, you know, the regular,
It's
you
good
know,
for us, right?
Yeah.
well, the standard column A, column B, and you draw the line. That's what this is.
Uh-huh.
It's online matching. So
Yeah, that's great.
that's easy. Don't do this crossword. I couldn't even figure out how to play it. But you can also do multiple choice, and it just says, just have 4 choices, basically. So you have the first one. Quick, what color?
Purple. No, gray. Gray.
Great day.
Yay! And this is kind of like Kahoot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all together, which is nice. And you can even play noughts and crosses, tic-tac-toe. And tic-tac-toe. For this, I think this is kind of cool for if you like strategy. Play against a computer or 2-player game. And I did not have a friend to try it out with. You can try that. Here are the words. And if you want to put your marker there, if I want to go here, what color is clock?
Nice.
Isn't that cool? And then the computer goes, computer is thinking, red pepper, pencil. Isn't that great?
That is great.
Rose.
So the colors and words have nothing to do with your, this is neat. This is neat. I like this because you're doing 2 very different things at the same time.
Yeah.
And you're trying to win, but at the same time you're doing, you know, language.
Yeah, and I like that the computer knows what color it is too.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. He's like, wow.
It's like color it out. You're actually learning from the other turn. You know, keep playing.
So Laura, did you have to train that little purple guy in the like? Did he take the Color Vowel Basics course?
It took ages. But he's a fast learner. Yeah. So there's that one. So there's 5. You know, you can make up. Just do a super quick list of all one color, and there's 5 games you can play. Well, 4 good games that you can play. And one other quick thing I want to show you is in the same website. Hold on a second. Okay, so I made up a pronunciation, just a black cat word list, a separate one, and it gave me these 3 options. Anagrams, I hate anagrams, my brain doesn't work that way. You can try it. Hangman, instead of someone dying, this little chocolate bar gets eaten. That's kind of fun. But the word search, which I've never actually liked word searches before, I thought this was really amazing as a review because of what you're doing, your internal language, the talk in your head, the practice that's going on. Here are the, here's just some black cat words. And if you need to find language, what do you do when you're actually doing a word search?
You're spelling.
Yeah, and I'm going language, right? You're saying it in your head. And so I found myself going, classroom, there's one, classroom. I got one, see? Have right here. And so I made myself do the whole word search, and I found that I was saying these words over and over again. So I think there might be some value having students do this, not just for the spelling. Oh, there's a word. It wasn't on my list, but you know, I always thought of word searches as a spelling only practice, right? And I found myself actually saying the words over and over again in order to find them. And so I think that really could help students as well. And then, yeah, that was just these 3. So I want you to try out EduCandy, EduCandy. The main page right here. Sorry, it's slow. I don't think I even signed in to make these. sample activities, just play around. You know, you can do the things that I did, make a list, or find a game you want to do and just populate it and play around with it. And please share with us is what I wanted to say. The ones that I just showed you today, I just sat down a couple days ago and I just Googled like online games and saw bingo, and then it brought me to Educandy. And I just started playing around with it. And I think I'm really going to use a lot of those with my students. If I want to review some words and I want them to practice, it's, you know, we know that students love to play games over and over. But please share with us. Just email us or go in the community and say, I'd love to show you this activity, or I'd love to show you this game that I made, because we know that teachers are amazing innovators, right? We work with anything that we can find. And I want you to start thinking about the tools that you already have, the formats you already use, the activities your students already love, and just color vowelize it, right? Find a way to focus on one color, or how to focus on a topic of, you know, a list of words, and how you can bring color vowel into it. And you're going to find some amazing activities. So don't forget to share with us.
I have a quick question, practical question. When you assign like a crossword or something, will your students, do they just get a code and they go in and do this on their own?
Yeah, most of the time.
And have you tested them all on phones as well as like every device, or maybe?
So I haven't checked, I haven't been teaching in about 6 weeks. So this website here, Educandy, look right here, have an activity code. I think I could just copy this. Oh, this is an example. So it says right here, you share. When you make an activity, a unique code is generated. You share that with your students. They can play on their own device. I'm assuming device means phone as well.
Yeah.
You can also embed it into your own website, that sort of thing. And look, they can download the Educandy app on their tablet. I just saw that. Or on their phone, probably.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this is a website. I just found this website a few days ago. So look around, you know, there's so many online activities. So find ones that you like and then apply color vowels to them, and then share with us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Sure.
Shirley.
And have
I wanted to, big applause. You know, we can do this kind of thing, do that kind of thing. Wonderful. Oh, it looks so nice when people do this. It's the visual reward. I'll speak to that another time, but that gets me excited. I want to finish up with the request for a little bit of Blue Canoe, just with the mention of the dictionary. Blue Canoe is our sister company who created an entire app around Color Vowel. So it's a Color Vowel dedicated app for learners, and teachers receive their own full version whenever they take Color Vowel Basics, and they get to keep it. So a lot of folks in the room have Blue Canoe for themselves. And just recently we released a free version that anybody on earth can download and gain basic access to. So there are lots of ways to access it. A lot of schools provide it to their students, or nonprofit organizations. So if you're new to this information, be sure to know that bluecanoelearning.com is their website, and they will work with you to put Blue Canoe in students' hands. Either if it's a paid program, then students pay, and if it's more like a nonprofit, the way Paper Airplanes is, which a lot of people here are volunteers with, nonprofits can arrange with Blue Canoe to put it in students' hands free of charge. So we're really excited to be working with Blue Canoe. In the app, we do have a dictionary. And so if you go to, that's the chart, and there's the dictionary. And I most recently, I looked very scholarly, but I was looking up anthropod, and I couldn't find that because it's not a word of English. So I finally figured out it's the word arthropod is what I was looking for. And so indeed, I can find, like Shirley was saying, I was looking up a word that I barely knew and figured out, you know, that it was a little different than I thought. And then you can listen to the corresponding color vowel. So I'll turn this up a little bit. Here we go. Olive sock. Oh, sorry, we're out of, try to get a little bit focused here. Let's see, one sec. There we go, a little better, okay? And then you can listen to the word. Arthropod. So,
sock. Arthropod.
Okay, so essentially it's cueing or priming the learner to hear that stressed syllable and then to listen to the word. And then what's nice about this is when you go back, you can see your entire history of words you've looked up. In this case, I would looked up arthropod and it pulled up all of the others. But when I X out of here, you see my entire history for my searches, okay? So it's just a really nice feature because people are always wondering, well, how do I know what color a word is? So that's how we know. Really nice feature. This feature is actually not part of the free version though, so it's very much worth getting the full version. You all as teachers, again, your ticket in is to take Color Vowel Basics online. That's one way to get it. The other is you can request it from Blue Canoe if you're looking to get it for your school. So for teachers, it's not terribly difficult to get. It's a question of how to get the full version into students' hands, and we provide a number of ways, okay? There's always lots to talk about with Blue Canoe. We will periodically offer more sessions. In fact, I think we have a Friday at 5 coming up. I did want, though, to talk just about that journey. I mentioned Color Vowel Basics, and you kind of hear, like, when you belong to this, then you get that kind of thing. And you've seen a bit of our website. I'll start by way of showing briefly our website, just so you kind of orient yourself to what's available when. But if you've been to our website recently, I've just shown you the resources for teachers. If you've ever been to the Teachers Lounge, you'll know that this is a resource only available after you've been trained, after you've invested in the book. And so in our shop, we really give a strong sense, if you're new to what we do, we give a sense of where to get started. We have the Get Started tab where you can either get the fully equipped classroom or the teacher starter kit. We do have our resources if you need and want some free resources before you start, including those 2 items. You're seeing some private things that aren't listed right now here, so you can ignore anything that says private. But it's to say it might be a little bit confusing, and that's why I wanted to share just this final step of a sense of our journey. Because we do have a journey that we've worked really hard to piece together a journey so people can feel comfortable, whether you're dipping your toe into teaching with Color Vowel simply because you know that now black cat is the in Saturday. But then we go a little deeper and then even deeper. And so I put together this graphic as a kind of conclusion for today to just help everybody be aware of the journey. And so everyone has access to our website, our free printable resources, our free events like this one. And we'll continue doing Fridays at 5 as long as people are interested. By the way, I know that Jennifer, you sent out the newsletter recently. That was the June newsletter. If anyone hasn't received that, look in your spam and just see if you can make sure, that we're able to communicate with you. In that newsletter, we have a survey that we're using to hear from you to know what you're interested in, especially for our upcoming unconference. So everybody can get the newsletter, the website. When you then invest in a copy of the Color Vowel Approach book, this is the book that I held up. For several years, Shirley and I, spent a lot of time hand-wringing about going to conferences like we did in Georgia years ago. And all we had a version of the chart that was real small. It was just a piece of paper basically, but it was printed on plastic. And people would buy it for $5 and walk away. And then we worried. We're like, oh, do they know what to do with it? And all we had was one lesson on the back of what to do. And it was kind of like sending people off just with prayers and a good wish. We really worried that people didn't know what to do. And we found that people didn't know what to do when they'd come back to us and say, well, what do I do with a word like international? Does that have 5 color vowels? And we'd have to train them that it's about the stress. And so then we thought, we'd better make sure that that's like the first step. And so that's why it's the first step shown after the free step of the journey. It's just investing in one of the products, which would be the teacher starter kit or the fully equipped classroom or the level 1 workshop. And so when you invest some way in what we do, then you become what we sort of think of as the community. And a lot of you in the room are here in the community. And that means that you can enter the Teachers Lounge. it means you can participate in my Color Vowel community in Facebook. And those are choices. Not everybody goes to the Facebook group, but we have, I don't know, 348 people as of today who are all aware of what we do with color vowels so that the dialogue is rich, right? We always have our free Facebook page as well. I mean, our open one where general questions can go. But this is like deeper dialogue about lesson planning or resources or language. And then the final sort of the closing the real gap is getting into that basics course, the level 1 course. Again, so many of you have already done. And then that just opens up this world of new opportunity, including our Color Vowel image kit. And so this is new. And so if you're thinking, well, I don't know about that image kit, that's because it's new. So if you have ever studied level 1 basics with us, you will be receiving in the coming days a link with an email to that image kit, which will contain the Color Vowel images you see in Blue Canoe, a Color Vowel chart, so you can put that in a slideshow or what have you, because you're teaching online and you need these things, okay? So watch for that. It also then gives you access to our level 2 workshops, like our Chants workshop that we're doing right now. And we'll be offering additional workshops in the fall and possibly even late summer. So we're really excited about that. So that's just a little bit of the sense of our 3-part journey to get up into that level 2 workshop world. And I'm open to any questions or comments from folks.
I would just like to promote, I mean, I know that not everybody loves Facebook and a lot of people just like, I don't do Facebook, but if you do Facebook, it's just such a great place to you know, because when you take ideas and you get in your classroom and then you go, oh, that didn't work. What did I do wrong? Or, oh, I wasn't sure how to proceed. Or, wow, I nailed it. That was great. I want to like share it with somebody. And then you talk to your husband and he's like, what are you talking about? I don't know what color vowels are, right? It's great because, you know, it's like people who've already sort of drank a little bit of the Kool-Aid, and it's just a great place to really kind of, even if you're sharing your successes, it helps you see why it worked. And, you know, I mean, it's just a great place to dialogue with other people.
Yeah. And, you know, Liz is I think you even have a badge, Liz, in Facebook. She posts so often and so well that she's called like a major contributor or something. She has a fancy badge.
Blabbermouth.
No, it's all good. It's all very good. So thank you, because I know Facebook presents certain barriers for some people, but it's where we are and we're having a great time. If anybody wants to join who doesn't want to do the rest of Facebook, talk to me. I can help you. Jennifer and I can help you into getting a membership that doesn't involve all the rest of the monkey business, you know, having to read stuff. So you can just belong to the community. So there's that. We are offering the Chants workshop right now. We'll be offering it again in late summer in August. And then the other course that's coming up, I just want folks to know about, we're really excited about, is a new kind of course. It's a pre-level 1 for non-native English speaking teachers. So what we found is we have a huge community in the world of English teachers, some of them being native speakers and many of them being non-native English speaking teachers. And among that second group, there are several who feel they want something to boost their confidence in spoken English before they are expected to teach it. And so this is a pronunciation course where we will be doing Color Vowel more than talking about Color Vowel. And so we're going to be offering that starting, what is that, June 18th, I think that's right. Jennifer, yes, she's nodding. So that'll run for 5 sessions in 2 weeks. It's a Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. And so if you know anybody who wishes they felt more confident about their spoken English and they're a non-native speaker, please spread the word. We have lots out there on our Facebook page and elsewhere, okay? I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We always have fun. If you love Fridays at 5, or if Fridays at 5 have supported you in some special way that you care about, we would love to know that. So please drop us a line. You can always reach us at colorvowelchart@gmail.com. You can reach us through our website. We get your mail any way you decide to go about it. But it kind of helps us know if it's useful to you, if we should continue. Along those lines, if you have a topic you would like discussed, we generally try to combine methodology with online teaching. That was kind of where this came from, was the need to support you as online teachers now. But I see that, you know, right now we're not ready to talk about what the next new normal is. We're still all teaching online. But that said, we're open to other topics too. So keep in touch with us. Let us know what you think. And again, thanks. Any final comments from anybody or big questions?
2 words. Yay, Jennifer.
Yay, Jennifer. That is my big yay as well. Jennifer Campion, who is our first full-time employee of Color Vowel and ELTS. She's basically making all of this possible because she is organized. So thank you, Jennifer. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yay, Jennifer.
Jennifer. Yeah, big hands, big hands. And yay to all of you. Thank you for joining us today. I love seeing your faces. We'll see you again next week, we hope.
Well, thank you for a well-spent hour. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Friday.
Bye.